Back with All Things Considered at 7. On Point is at 8 p.m. on both 93.9 FM and AM 820. And a reminder that at 9 o'clock, WNYC will bring you live coverage of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. NPR will bring you the primetime speeches with analysis. We'll continue to bring you that every night at the DNC. Tonight, special speakers include Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. It's 6:30.
WNYC is supported by Charles P. Rogers, manufacturer of handcrafted mattresses and beds. The Charles P. Rogers factory showrooms are now open to the public on 17th Street in Manhattan and Route 17 in Hackensack, New Jersey. More at charlesprogers.com.
WNYC, independent journalism in the public interest. 93.9 FM and AM 820. NPR News and the New York Conversation.
Marketplace is supported by C3 Generative AI. Verifiable, traceable answers, secure, hallucination-free, LLM-agnostic, IP liability-free. C3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
You know how delivery services are always talking about how hard that last mile is? That, but for interest rates. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Amazon Business, focused on offering smart business buying solutions, leading time to focus on growth. More at amazonbusiness.com. And by Babbel for Business. With over 13,000 hours of language courses, Babbel is helping businesses break down language barriers and improve workplace safety. Learn more at babbelforbusiness.com.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Ryssdal. It is Tuesday today, the 20th of August. Good as always to have you along, everybody. The speechifying continues in Chicago tonight. Our eyes, though, remain firmly fixed on Jackson Hole come Friday and what Fed Chair Jay Powell is going to say. Something about data, almost certainly, and the labor market, and how the central bank is making progress toward its 2% inflation goal. All y'all know his list of particulars as well as I do. What is not entirely clear, though, is what more the Fed's going to be able to do to get that economy to 2%. Because, as Powell himself and others have said on this program and elsewhere, this last percentage point or so is going to be the hard part. How hard? And why is it so hard? Marketplace's Kristen Schwab starts us off.
To understand what the Fed is up against in the coming months, year, however long it takes, it's helpful to understand why the Fed will start cutting rates before inflation hits 2%. Narayana Kocherlakota is a former president of the Minneapolis Fed.
One of the analogies people give is you're driving a car, but you only get to look in the rearview mirror.
We don't exactly know what's happening now because data lags. That means inflation could already be lower. So the Fed needs to plan ahead. Because not only is there a lag in data, there will be a delay in how consumers and businesses respond to interest rate cuts.
It'll take time for the effects of that rate cut to filter through the economy.
Now, you might wonder, can't the Fed just plug all the data into a model and make some predictions? The Fed does do that. But forecasting doesn't account for the infinite uncertainties. What's going to happen with commercial real estate? Could there be more tariffs? What if the last few months of data were a fluke? Ken Kuttner is a former staff member at the Chicago and New York Fed.
You know, that's very, very hard to predict, but I'm sure people at the FOMC are going to be wringing their hands about, well, where are the risks?
It's one reason why Kuttner says the Fed will likely move slow with rate cuts.
Then you might see a pause between meetings and say, okay, well, we cut in December, maybe not in January, because we want to see how things play out.
The Fed will also move slowly because, to borrow an admittedly tired metaphor, the smaller the target, the more precise the tool has to be. David Wessel directs the Hutchins Center on Fiscal and Monetary Policy at the Brookings Institution.
When inflation is at 9%, anybody could be a central banker. You raise interest rates. So now they're at the part where it takes a lot of judgment and good luck to hit it just right.
The chances of making a mistake and pushing the unemployment rate too high, those chances are greater now. I'm Kristen Schwab for Marketplace.
Wall Street today. Winning streak. We hardly knew you. We'll have the details when we do the numbers. According to the Census Bureau, the median household income in this economy, median, remember, means half below, half above. The median household income here is $80,000 a year, give or take, which sounds okay, except that according to a new report on the mortgage market from the lending technology firm Maxwell, the median income of a home buyer in this economy is now up to $96,000, and that gap between them has been growing for years. Marketplace's Kaylee Wells is on that one.
Not only is the median homebuyer earning more, they're also older and making bigger down payments. All of it points to one truth, says economist Jessica Lautz with the National Association of Realtors.
Housing affordability is really towards the worst spot that we have seen it in the last 4 decades.
And two things are making the problem worse.
Both home prices and mortgage rates are making it very unaffordable for your typical American to be able to purchase a home.
And the amount that potential home buyers need is increasing faster than the median income, says Redfin's chief economist Daryl Fairweather.
I think we've been moving towards this place of owning a home being something that is more upper middle class for a long time.
Fairweather says 4 years ago, during a pandemic-era pocket of cheaper housing, 45% of homes were affordable to a household on the local median income. Now it's down to 16%.
So that's a big gap. I mean, it's essentially saying that even if you are solidly in the middle class in America, you will not be able to buy a home.
And even if the Fed cuts interest rates next month, the relief will be temporary, says John Possonen, because of a bigger issue.
What we've seen is, over the last decade in this country, severe underbuilding of inventory. And so we have a severe lack of supply.
Possonen is CEO and co-founder of the lending technology firm Maxwell that released the report. He says low rates will lead to more demand, and more demand without more supply means higher prices.
Because now, instead of getting 2 offers on my house, I'm getting 5 offers on my house. I'm getting 10 offers on my house. And so that's just going to exacerbate the pricing affordability challenge.
As for tips, there isn't a silver bullet. Pay down your debt, scrape together some savings, and, Possonen says, buy something, no matter how small or cheap, soon, to start accumulating wealth. I'm Kaylee Wells for Marketplace.
Much of the digital world relies on something called open source software, computer programs where the underlying code is published out on the internet, free for developers to tinker with. Mozilla's Firefox browser and the publishing platform WordPress are just 2 examples, maybe the best known. That is the backdrop for this. There's a big debate in Silicon Valley over whether companies should make artificial intelligence open source. Google and OpenAI are keeping everything pretty much walled off. Meta, though, has gone open source, letting pretty much anybody have access to their powerful large language models, which is what those things are called, LLMs. The stakes are high for which company or companies are going to come to dominate AI, but it's also high for the safety of us humans, too. With that setup, here's Marketplace's Matt Levin.
Niels Tracy admits his business probably wouldn't exist without Llama. That's the name of Meta's open source AI.
No, I don't think it could. The backing of Meta and the power Meta has to build that model enables us to do this.
Tracy is the founder and CEO of a North Carolina startup called Blinder. It's basically AI for law firms. It can do things like redact documents or automatically file for copyright protections. Tracy's company copied all of Llama's source code, made some tweaks, and then retrained the AI to write like a lawyer.
We have contracts from a law firm or other types of documents they might have that are written in their style. We will train it off of that, and we will get it to learn that style of writing.
Tracy could have tried to adapt large language models from OpenAI or Google or other AI companies, but without their underlying code, he'd have to trust they weren't misusing his data. Also, they're not free.
Are you paying Meta in any way?
No.
How happy are you about that?
I'm very happy about that.
That open source model is extremely valuable for anyone downstream who wants to use it to be able to develop a new product or a new application.
Elizabeth Seeger is director of digital policy at the think tank Demos. If you're wondering why Meta would spend tens of billions developing its own AI only to give it away for nothing, Seeger says there's an economic strategy behind that. It's called commoditizing the compliment.
Let's say you are a hot dog producer. So you make hot dog buns completely free. So everybody can get their hand on hot dog buns, but then they need to buy your hot dogs.
In this case, Meta's free hot dog buns would be its open source AI. In the future, hot dogs could be data sets Meta will sell you to train it, or Meta hardware the AI runs on. Traditionally, with open source software, there's another benefit too. If there's a security problem, the global developer community is there to spot it. Ali Farhadi is CEO of the nonprofit Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence.
Do I rather live in a world where there is actually a large number of practitioners who know how to fix AI models when an attack or misuse happens, or a world in which I'm at the mercy of a couple of institutes?
But not everyone